ezikozesebwa ku golf course kubanga omuddo guno okubeera nga gusigala gye bayita the green guba gwetaaga okuba nga oguteekamu ebijimusa bingi ebijimusa tebikkirizibwa ekyo ojja kuba nga weetaaga okuteekako olukomera terikkulizibwa mu paaka.
Gye buvuddeko President Yoweri Museveni yalagira aba Uganda Wildlife Authority bakole ku nsonga z'abamusiga nsimbi abaagala ettaka wabula abakugu mu by'ebisolo eby'omu nsiko bagamba kino tekisoboka.
Now, if it is a business which does not enhance conservation, it would be difficult for Uganda Wildlife Authority to approve.
Kino wekijjidde ng'ettaka eddala mu kkuumiro ly'ebisolo lya Action Falls lyatwalibwa ekitongole kya Civil Aviation Authority okuzimbako ekisaawe ky'ennyonyi nga Uganda Wildlife Authority tekkiriza. Ekkuumiro lino Action Falls erisinga obunene era nga liwera square kilomita 15,000 ng'oggyeko amazike agasangibwa ebwendi era nga gasikiriza nnyo abalambuzi. Action Falls nayo erina ensolo ezisikiriza abalambuzi nga enjovu, entulege, enjiri, envubu, empologoma wamu n'ebisolo ebirala bingi. Jingo Francis, NTV ku ssaawa emu.
Kale kulikayo Jingo Francis. Wabalusewo ekirwadde kya mulangira oba kiyite measles mu bitundu by'omu bugwanjuba obw'eggwanga Uganda. Tukitegeddeko nti ekirwadde kino kati kyekirisiza mu bitundu mu district nnya omuli eya Mubende, Kyenjojo, Isingiro ko n'eye Kamwenge. Ab'ekitongole kya Red Cross wamu ne gavumenti kati bali mu kutema mpenda okulaba nga bajjanjaba abo abakwatiddwa obulwadde buno saako n'okugema abaana bato baleme kufuna bulwadde buno obwa mulangira. Twogeddeko n'omugezi wa Red Cross Catherine Ntabadde ku ssimu n'atunyonnyola ku nsonga eno.
Waliwo obulwadde bw'olukusense obuzuuliddwa mu districts ez'enjawulo nga muno mulimu Mubende, Isingiro, Kyenjojo ne Kamwenge. Kyetusobodde okukola wamu ne ministry ey'ebyobulamu kwe kulaba nga tuteekawo bannakyewa aba Red Cross batandike okukunga abantu basobole okugenda okugemesa abaana. Engeri gye tugenda okukola okugemesa kuno okwennyongereza twongeremu amaanyi mu kugemesa okwa bulijjo tusobole okulaba nga tukola ku polio ate n'olukusense kati olubaluseewo. Tusuubira abazadde bwe tuba tubakunze ne tubannyonnyola omugaso gw'okugemesa abaana kijja kutuyamba okulaba nga tukendeeza ku ndwadde zino.
Kale buli omu asabe mu ddiini y'obulwadde obwo babulwanyise buleme kusaasaana mu ggwanga lyonna. Babaka ba Parliament abatuula akakiiko akola ku bya science ne tekinologiya baliko ebbago ly'etteeka erungamya ku birime n'ebisolo ebirongooseemu oba eby'ensigo ez'embala lye bali mu kubaga. Ebiseera ebimu ebisolo n'ebirime eby'embala oba ebirongooseddwamu ebyakazibwako eri akawanda biba bya bulabe eri abantu saako n'obutonde bw'ensi. Era ng'eno y'ensonga lwaki ababaka basazeewo okubaga etteeka ku nsonga eno.
Ababaka abatula ku kakiiko ka science ne tekinologiya bali mu kwebuuza ku bannasayansi abatali bamu mu kaweefube w'okubaga etteeka erirungamya ku birime n'ebisolo eby'embala oba ebirongooseddwamu mu ngeri ya sayansi etali ya bulijjo. Mu kwebuuza kwabwe ababaka batuuseko ne mu mawanga g'ebweru ebirime n'ebisolo eby'ekikula kino gye bisibuka.
Likwata oba ligenderera okulaba nga ensigo zino ezireetebwa nti nnongooseemu ze tuyita eza GMO bwe tuba tuziresaakingako oba nga tuzikulaakulanya ate n'okuziteeka mu balimi batandika okuzirima zibaako amateeka agazikugira.
Nja kugenda mu Parliament mbuulire eggwanga ntegeeza ne Parliament obuzibu obuli mu bintu bino bayita GMOs tusobole okwekenneenya tuleme kuyisa etteeka lwakuba twagala kuyisa etteeka.
Abakugu mu bya sayansi batabula emisaayi gy'ebisolo okusobola okukyusamu mu nkula yabyo eya bulijjo n'ekigendererwa ky'okufuna ennyama amaliba oba ebyoya ebirongooseemu oba ebingi. Ebirime nabyo bikyusibwa okufuna ensigo ez'embala. Yadde ng'ekigendererwa kiba kyakukyusaamu ebiseera ebimu ebisolo n'ebirime bino biba bya bulabe eri abantu ko n'obutonde bw'ensi.
Baagala ensigo zaffe eza bulijjo ziggweewo basobole tuleetera ensigo zaabwe ze baggyeyo wano ne batwala ne bongeraho amagezi amakugu ate ne bateekamu n'eddagala lyabwe ze tuba tuggula tube nga tukozesa. Kitegeeza ki nti omulimi tajja kulima nsigo ze awanike kasooli we mu ffumbiro awanike omuwemba gwe oba obulo addemu abusimbe bumere.
Ekyo si kituufu nti zijja kuggwaawo osobola okulima wano GMO ate n'olimirawo na ziri endala naye waliwo amateeka agafuga ennimiro ez'ekika ekyo.
Olumu abantu abali ebirime n'ebisolo bino balwala endwadde ezitategerekeka so nga abalala bakwatibwa kookolo. Mu mawanga agamu naddala ag'abazungu enkola zino zaawerebwa ate nga amawanga amalala gateekawo amateeka amakakali ku birime n'ebisolo ebirongooseddwamu.
Byonna byonna biri mu kategori mutuluba eryo erya GMOs. Abazungu tebabyagala ewaabwe kubitwala mu katale k'ewaabwe naye bagala tubisimbe wano.
Twetaaga etteeka oba erigamba eriteekawo enkola ey'okulaba nti tunaakozesa tutya GMOs oba erigambira ddala nti tuzeetaaga.
Nga babaga etteeka lino abamu ku babaka baagala ebirime n'ebisolo ebirongooseddwamu biwerebwe eddala mu Uganda so nga abalala bateesa nti wateekebwewo amateeka amakakali agakugira okwaluza okuzaaza saako n'okulima ebirime n'ebisolo bino.
Kale kulikayo no nga tuli kugulira eri wetwagala okusinziira mmanyi tutera okubaganya ebirowoozo namwe nga twagala obbabuuza nti biki bewandyagadde biteekebwe mu tteeka erungamya ku bisolo ebirongooseemu saako n'ebirime eby'ensigo ez'embala. Tutandika okuweereza obubaka era tujja kuba tubusoma maaso awo era tetubuddemu nga tumaliriza amawulire gaffe. N'olw'ensonga eyo njagala tuwumulimu katono naye tukomewo saagala ove ku NTV kuba bingi tukyayagala okubikuwa ate tukyabiina. Katembe Iganga kansala we Iganga yambalaganye n'omukulu w'essomero mu lukiiko buli omu alangidde munno okulya enguze. KIU ne Falcons balaze eryanyi mu liigi y'eggwanga ey'ensero. Aba Magic Stormers ne City Oilers bafeesa.
Isn't it almost compulsory to gossip if you're a girl? And when we're not together, we're constantly on the phone. How's that, you ask? Well, Airtel and Worry joined hands, and with all the talking I used to do earlier, I get to do some more of it. Oh my gosh, you have to say that. I get the best of both worlds. Superb network, unlimited calls with Chica and Pakalast, and the best of all, affordable prices. What more could I ask for?
I am Layla, and now I am Airtel.
7.2 million Ugandans are now talking to each other at the best prices, and they are all on Airtel.
The noise in the air. Hakuna Matata. Everybody rise up, get up, stand up. Happy people dance to the beat. Let us celebrate. Uganda celebrate. Celebrate.
Reham Cola. Taste it. Believe it.
Tonight on NTV.
Having built a copy of the Ninja Warrior course at home, Kuratori is known by other competitors for his Ninja Warrior shrine.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Are you well?
Yes.
Good. I need 5 copies of each.
Okay.
Having a meeting in the next 15 minutes.
Tutakuletea kwa ofisi.
Speak in English.
We will bring them in your office.
Who's we? No. You don't feature anywhere. She's the one who's starring.
Tonight on NTV.
Kulikayo mukumbulamu okwo ketutandike ne kansala ku district ey'Iganga ekyachwanye nkalumiriza omukulu w'essomero lya Kigulu College okumpanya ensimbi saako n'okukamula ensimbi mu bazadde n'abaana b'omu ssomero lino. Wabula omukulu w'essomero naye amwambalidde n'amulangira okuba omuli w'enguzi. Ng'obi bakulu banne bamukomyeko ng'avudde mu mbeera.
Kansala okutandika okusuukira ng'omwenge omusu kyaddiridde omukulu w'essomero Olivia Nambi okwewaana mu lukiiko nti mu ssomero lyakulembera buli kimu kigenda bukwakku. Kansala Ngobi Nabikamba yabadde nga alidde ennumba abavubuka bwe bamukubidde emizira nga bamutendereza obuzira. Poliisi nayo yaweeyaweeza kansala ono eyabadde yeesomye okulumba omusomesa Nambi. Kansala alumiriza omukulu w'essomero okujja ssente mu bazadde so nga ye headmistress agamba nti Kansala Ngobi mu kulya enguzi akwata kisooka.
Yatoola ku bantu essente yakati naali kuzimba ebizimbe ebiri mu Uganda yona yona. N'olwekyo bw'alaze talaze ssente ediva mu bantu ate nga mbitirivu kumbide nakusinga na ssente ediva mu gavumenti gagatti.
When they gave us that project, MPL, the 500 million they mentioned there, he picked money from one of the contractors, 60 million, so I hear.
Akacyankalano kano kabaddewo mu lukiiko lwa bonna olwatudde ku mbuga y'eggombolola y'e Namungalwe. Abatuuze b'ekkokodde amalya nsimbi naddala mu NADS, omutindo gw'ebyenjigiriza oguserebya ennyo e Uganda, ebbula ly'eddagala n'ebirala.
Ate bo ab'ekitongole kikwasaganya ebitongole byonna eby'amateeka n'obulamuzi ki Justice Law and Order Sector balambudde ebifo byonna omukumirwa abaana bamulekwa n'abo abataliko masirizi. Ekigendererwa mu kino kwe kulaba obanga ddala ebifo bino biri mateeka era nga bissa mu nkola ebyo ebigwaniddwa okukolebwa naddala okukuuma eddembe ly'abaana. Ono y'omu ku kaweefube ow'okukendeeza emisango egikolebwa ku baana abato naddala abo abatakuze n'abazadde baabwe.
Nga bakulembeddwamu omulamuzi omukulu mu disitulikiti ya Soroti Henrietta Olaya, ab'ekitongole kya Justice Law and Order wamu ne poliisi balambudde ebifo byonna ebikuumirwamu bamulekwa mu buvanjuba bw'eggwanga. Ekigendererwa ky'okulambula kuno kwe kulaba nga ddala ebifo bino birina ebyetaagisa byonna ng'amateeka bwe galagira nga kw'otadde n'okulaba embeera abaana gye balimu.
Also advised the person running this facility on record keeping. We shall come back again to ensure that the facility meets the standards.
Efe byakebeddwa birimu abaana abazaalibwa n'akawuka ka mukenenya, abaana bafiirwako bazadde baabwe nga kw'otadde ne poliisi byasobola okutaasa okuva mu masabo nga kw'otadde ne zikaabuyonjo.
At the moment, I think we have 18 children, and most of them now are little ones, small ones, babies.
Okulambula ebifo bino ekujjidde ng'ebikolwa ebityoboola eddembe ly'abaana wamu n'okubakulusanya byeyongedde nnyo wano mu ggwanga naddala ebikolwa kwabo abatakuzibwa bazadde baabwe.
Recently we brought a girl from Cabremaido who was defiled and impregnated, and then the boyfriend wanted to kill her. So she's now with us in a machete. At least they're trying to take care of her.
Okusinziira ku kunoonyeza kwa poliisi okoleddwa mu bitundu by'omuvanjuba bw'eggwanga mu myezi 6 egiyise, emisango gy'okusobya ku baana abato gisoba mu 7, egy'okusuulawo abaana giri mu 280, ate egy'okutulugunya abaana giri 15.
Kale gw'omubiri gw'omuntu ng'ebitonde ebisinga obungi gwatondebwa nga gulina okuwummula era ng'ekiseera omubiri bwe gusinga okuwummula obulungi by'ebyo ng'omuntu yeebase yadde nno nga guli kuti waliwo abantu ebyokwebaka ababiviirako ddala. Kino kireetebwa ensonga ezitali zimu ng'obulwadde, okukola ennyo, obutawummula, obweyaliikirivu ssaako n'ensonga endala nnyingi. Olwaleero mu byobulamu Irene Namyalo atunuulidde ensonga y'okubulwa otulo era nga naawe olina okugitunuulira ogirabe.
Mu bimu ku bintu eby'obutonde buli muntu byalina okukola ku nsi kwe kwebaka era ng'otulo bwe tuba twazze tetuliko gwe tutya. Abakugu batubuulidde nti mu bwongo mulimu ekirungo ekikola ng'eddagala ekikendeeza amaanyi obwongo kwe bukolera nga bubanga obubaka obulagira omubiri okuwummula ekiviirako omuntu okufuna otulo.
Wabaawo omuntu ng'oba teyeebase kimala ekiro kati omubiri obwongo ne bubanga bumusaba agenda awummulemukko, naye ng'ate abamu kijja buzzi nga oli alina bulwadde obw'okusumajjira nakyo tutera nnyo kifuna nga obulagala buli obuleeta otulo buba bungi nga bumusukiriddeko nga buli kaseera buba bumuleetera okwagala okwebaka.
wabaawo essaawa omubiri gw'ozaamanyira okwebakirako era wano embeera ng'okuggyako ettaala n'okusiriikirira biyamba nnyo ekirungo okukola amangu omuntu otulo ne tumuggyawo mangu. Kyokka wadde embeera eyinza okubeera ennungi ennyo ekyandiviiriddeko omuntu okwebaka amangu waliwo kino lwe kigaana ng'omuntu alwawo okutwalibwa otulo kyokka bwe tuba tumukutte ate n'ayangu okuzuukuka.
Ebyo biva ku ekitera okuleeta ekyo wabaawo omuntu alina obuzibu nga bwe tuyita stress ey'ekika kyonna egaana omuntu okwebaka. Katugambe nti oba ofiiriddwa n'ofuna stress omuntu gw'oyagala ennyo oba ali close afudde, ofiiriddwa oba ku mulimu oba ssente ziyise nga abakozi ba bizinesi, ennyumba ekutta omuliro nejja, kati ebyo stressors ebyo byo bigaana omuntu okwebaka.
Omusawo agamba nti omuntu omukulu yandyebakidde essaawa kati w'ettaano n'omukaaga okusobola okuzikuka ng'omubiri gwe guwummudde ekimala. Kyokka kino kiyinza obutasoboka singa omuntu alina ekintu eky'entiisa ennyo kye yakayitamu, alina oguzibu ogunene, aliko eddagala lyamira olumu n'okukola ennyo.
Bw'oba ogerageranyiza n'ekyuma, okwebaka kuno kulina saavisi efunibwa mu mubiri omuntu n'aba nti olunaku oluddirira aba asobola okukola emirimu gye. Kati bw'aba teyeebase ajja kuba munafu, tajja kusobola kukola mirimu gye, tajja concentratinga ku kintu, okulowooza kujja kuba kutono, aba tasobola kulowooza, ate ng'okulowooza kuno kutuyamba nnyo mu byonna bye tuba tukola.
Mubamu okunywa omwenge ne sigala oba kaawa omungi emisana n'ebiringa ebyo byandiremesa omuntu okwebaka ekiseera ekisaanidde. Omuntu bw'agenda mu maaso n'okukola kyokka nga tawummula kimala, kino omusawo agamba kyandimuviiramu obulabe.
Eventually oyinza okufuna kye tuyita obwongo okubreakinga down n'oba nti ofuna endwadde endala eziyinza okutewaanya nga obw'ebirowoozo tubwogeddeko obwa depression, oyinza okutabukira ddala kubanga obwongo oba tobuwummuza busigala bukola essaawa yonna.
Abantu abeekatankira eddagala ery'okwebaka nga lino libaamu ekirungo ekireeta otulo bawabuddwa nti bwe liyitirira ate lyandiviirako omuntu obubi. Omuntu yandigenze w'omusawo omukugu n'amanya ensibuko y'otulo okubula era n'aweebwa amagezi ag'ekikugu kubanga mubamu kino kibaawo kiseera buseera so nga abalala kifuuka kya lulango. Irene Namyalo, NTV.
Ensonga y'otulo nsonga nkulu nnyo era buli omu yandibadde afuna akadde n'awummulamu. Tugenda kuwummulamu katono ale tukomewo n'amawulire amalala mangi. Toseguka.
Today's highlight with
Nice and Lovely Body Lotion.
Having built a copy of the Ninja Warrior course at home, Shiratori is known by other competitors for his Ninja Warrior shrine. But will his commitment to the tournament pay off today?
この男にはどういう結末をもたらすのか。多くの猛者たちを飲み込んでまいりましたこのメタルスピン。もはやセカンドステージはタイムとの戦いではありません。7回目の出場となりました。千葉県印旛村役場勤務白鳥文平30
New and improved Nice and Lovely Body Lotion. The 24-hour skin moisturizer that's your skin's best friend.
The best in me.
Yo! It's time to go dancing in Aringo, because if you're on Airtel or worried, you stand a chance to win up to 5 million shillings every day. Yes, 5 million shillings. Yo! All you have to do is SMS the word WIN to 188, answer the simple questions that follow, and then you will enter a draw to come to NTV and get a chance to simply pick a box and win loads of cash. It's that simple. The more questions that you answer, the higher your chances of winning. Don't forget, SMS the word WIN to 188 and enjoy the deal of the century. Only with
Airtel. Hundreds of men arrive in this city every hour. They come to make a name for themselves. My friend Sam made his name by making names for others. he believes a man's name finds its meaning not in what he says, but in what he does. Every man must find it within himself to give everything he does, everything he's got. If he does that, he'll make himself a name worth putting up in lights. A name that is made of more.
Introducing Precise Weighing Systems, located on Sia Mera Plaza behind Tusky Supermarket along Bogolobi Spring Road. We bring to you the finest brands from UK, China, Korea and other countries. Come to us for the best in industrial scales, medical health scales, laboratory scales, animal scales and weigh bridges. We are also certified to do repairs to all types of weighing scales. Precise Weighing Systems, your ultimate weighing scale solutions.
Must Watch is brought to you by...
Welcome to the new world.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Thank you.
Are you well? Yes. Good. I need 5 copies of each. Okay. Having a meeting in the next 15 minutes.
Tutakuletea kwa ofisi.
Speak in English.
We will bring them in your office.
Who's we? No. You don't feature anywhere. She's the one who's starring. You should bring them to my office, okay? Good. Remind me of your name again.
Atia.
Yes, Atia. That's the name I was looking for.
Welcome to the new world. Welcome to the new world.
NTV Sport is brought to you by
A name that is made of more.
Kulikayo mukuumulamu okwo. Tutandise n'omuzannyo gw'ensero okuzannyidwa ku YMCA ngeno Falcons yawangudde City Oilers n'obubonero 83-8 mu luzannya olwanyumidde ennyo abo ababaddewo bakira nga bakuba enduulu ey'oluleekereeke ku YMCA. Ate aba Magic Stormers bo bakubiddwa aba KIU Rangers n'obubonero 7-5 zino zabadde empaka za liigi y'ababinywera.
Falcons okuwangula omuzannyo gw'eggulo kyabadde kizibu okukkiriza olw'ensonga nti bano bazze tebakola bulungi mu nzannya 3 emabega. Wabula eggulo ebintu byakyuse mu muzannyo ogwanyumidde abalabi era nga gwagenze okuggwa nga Falcons erina obubonero 83 ate City Oilers 80. Abazannyi okuli Philip Ameni, Abdullahi Ramadan ne Stefano Muni bakoze nnyo okusitula omutindo gwa ttiimu yaabwe ya Falcons nga bano baawadde City Oilers akaseera akazibu. Wabula newankubadde nga City Oilers yakubiddwa bazanye bulungi nga Kami Kabangu eyakoze obubonero 32 yafubye okulaba nga balemesa Falcons okubatwalako obuwanguzi newankubadde tekyasobose. Ate mu gy'abakazi KIU Rangers yakubye Magic Stormers n'obubonero 7-5 nga kino kyakugiyamba okulongoosa emikisa gyayo okwegatta ku luzannya oluddako.
Ate bo abawuzi abamanya mu ggwanga tebajjumbidde enteekateeka ezibadde ez'okusunsulamu abo abaneetaba mu kuwuga okweya Afrika yonna okugenda okuteekebwa wano mu Uganda. Wabula abaddukanya ekibiina kino ekyokuwuga bagamba nti bakyagenda mu maaso n'okunoonya abantu abalina ebitone basobole okulaba nga at least tujjayo omudaali mu muzannyo guno omwaka ogujja ogenda okubeera wano mu Kampala.
Nga tusemberera empaka ez'okuwuga eza Africa ez'okuyindira mu Kampala omwaka ogujja, ekibiina ekiddukanya omuzannyo guno kiri mu kunoonya abazannyi abalina ebitone. Mu kusunsulamu okubadde mu Kampala, Tom Barenze yeegasse ku abo abanakiikirira abamusaayi muto. Wabula abamu ku bawuzi bagamba nti bannaabwe abamanyi okwebuzaabuza kyandireetera Uganda obutakola bulungi.
balina omukisa omulala ogw'okwalifyinga. Tulina competitions endala ezigenda okubeera mu October, Excel Swimming Championships, nazo tugenda kuzikozesa kulonda abagenda okuwuga okukikirira Uganda ku mpaka zino eza kana.
Babakungu mu kibiina ekifuga omuzannyo guno mu ggwanga bagamba nti bakugenda mu maaso n'enteekateeka awatali kwesigama kwabo abatandise okwebulankanya.
Tusuubira at least government weba etuyambye tuba twetagisa nga million 2 tusobole okuzikozesa kukikirira abajja kuva ku nsi ez'ebweru, okulaba nti tubawa transport, tubawa we bagenda okusula n'emmere gye bajja okulya.
Guno gwe mulundi ogugenda okusooka Uganda okutegeka empaka ez'okuwuga eza Africa nga zaakubeerawo mu mwezi ogwokuna omwaka ogujja.
Ate eyo nga tuvuddeyo tugenda kulaba ku muzannyo gwa baseball. Abansambe sharing bawangudde enzanya 2 ku ezo 3 ezizanyiddwa olwaleero mu mpaka za baseball wabali wansi w'emyaka 12. Empaka zino ezizanyiddwa ensambi ezigendererwamu okutumbula omuzannyo gwa baseball mu ggwanga naddala nga batandikira kuba musaayi muto.
Abakulira omuzannyo gwa baseball mu ggwanga na buli kati bakyali mu kutema mpenda ez'okubunyisa omuzannyo guno wonna mu ggwanga. Yadde nga omuzannyo guno gugenda guganja wano mu bitundu by'omu masekati g'eggwanga, abakugu basabye gavumenti n'abantu bonna okulaba nga n'ebitundu by'eggwanga ebirala nabyo bifuna akakisa okuzannya omuzannyo guno.
And what we need to do is just get the essentials, get these bases, get gear that's protective. And I think that we can work with people in the US to try and get those types of things. But they've got to come and they've got to be used with integrity. And then we've got to see people get behind the game.
Ate kati bana abaana mwaka guli twalina timu 4, lero tulina timu 15 abali mu game eno y'abaana under 12.
Abato abali wansi w'emyaka 12 sharing yerisizza nkuuli bwekubye Luzira ne Luweero mu nzannya ezibadde wano ensambi ya ku sharing. Jonathan Mukobe yasinze okuyamba sharing ewangudde Luzira ku bugoba 4-3, Luweero ewangudde Luzira ku bugoba 6-1. Abanazannya omuzannyo guno obulungi bakutwalibwa mu ggwanga erya South Africa ebitone byabwe byongere okuwagalibwa.
A name that is made of more.
Kale kati ketulabe embeera y'obudde, enteebereza y'obudde nga bw'enebeera mu lunaku olw'enkya.
New Mortin Doom Power Guard. Nothing kills faster and keeps killing for longer. Come on, they're asleep. New Mortin Doom Power Guard. Nothing kills faster and keeps killing for longer.
Kale, twabuuziza ekibuuzo ku biki byewandyagadde biteekebwe mu tteeka erirungamye ku bisolo ebirongooseemu ssaako n'ebirime ebyo eby'ensigo ez'embala. Ebibuuzo mubizzemu naye muli bangi, kati twetandike ne Nanyonga Florence. Ono agamba nti babigobe bugobi. Waliwo Ebo Nixon agamba babigobe twakoowa. Brenda Craig agamba bateekewo amateeka ku bisolo. Tuyinawo Joswise Xafi Scholes agamba babiwere era Kawanda bagigalewo. Waliwo Steven Semata agamba babigyewo. Ebintu bingi nnyo. Tuyina Nsubuga Shafik tusuubira yagamba nti babigobe. Tuyina Juma Nsubuga agamba please babigobe bugobi tebabirinza. Nalubega Linda agamba biwerebwe. Kansembeyo ndoza Semogere Michael ono yagamba nti Gavi should eliminate them completely. Kankomewo n'oyo kubanga banji siyinza naye nga bogenda ku NTV bogenda ku Facebook n'ogenda ku mukutu gwafu kwa NTV ogenda kubanga olaba abantu bye bawandiise naye byo wandiise kuba bingi biwandiikiddwa. Njagala nkomaawo mwebale kwekumira ku NTV amawulire tukyalina ag'essaawa 3 mu lulimi Olungereza ate tuddemu tusikane ekya ku ssaawa emu mbatuuseeko amalala mu lulimi Oluganda. Nze Patrick Mukasa sula bulungi weeraba.
NTV World. Do you seek to understand men better?
There's a very big difference between a woman and a man.
For me, equality does not mean the woman also becomes a man.
Things have changed.
Are men who are sometimes purported to be the firstborn relationship relegated to second place?
When men stopped being men.
For any relationship to advance, both each of the parties needs to maintain a certain level of individuality.
Why do men cheat?
A, because they can get away with it.
If I'm not ready for whatever it is and I say I don't think it's the right time, why must it mean that I'm running around or that I want to run around?
I don't believe that partners are supposed to be equal.
You should not reveal information that is not going to help you.
Men, every Wednesday only on NTV.
You take a walk through Kampala, especially Kampala Road, Jinja Road, you will not miss almost disco lights. The money off the streets, or would you pick money if you saw it? Are you the one who dropped this money here? Are you?
No. Are you?
But by the mere fact that it is in my compound, it is in my proximity. Have you heard of the word convictor?
Me being a thief does not deprive me of having my right.
But right,
don't stop being
what right
human.
do you have as a thief? No, say
as
one.
a human being, period.
Yeah, they say, we have also had.
Abaana bebazaala kate mu myaka 10 maaso bajja kufuna ifu olw'ekiwunye ekyo leero tekiwunye.
NTV, turning on your world.
Last week, we shared with you a story of Nelson Kalyango from Namayumba along Hoima Road. Nelson is disabled with both legs dysfunctional. One will say there are many like him. And so unique about Nelson is that his story is one of perseverance through every obstacle in his path of life.
I remember of one story at home where we are seated. After supper, we had our fire stones in the house. We could set fire, we tell stories and the other. And everybody was saying, me when I grow up, I'll marry my wife, I'll do this, I'll do this. So when it came to my turn, I also shared. Tell me when I grow old, I'll marry my wife, and everybody was whom will you marry? And I felt shy. But one thank God, after 20 and lots of years, of all the people at home, I am the only one who has an officially married wife.
Nelson's story is a source of inspiration, not only to those who are disabled, but also to those who are not disabled. It tells us that anything is possible and that we should never give up. Everybody has a story, but yours will only become our story when you share it. Life Stories gives you that opportunity to share your story that in the end you can inspire or give hope to someone. Today on the show, we continue to bring you amazing stories of people who have accepted that they are what they are by God's design and have chosen to live positively and not let their situations pull them down. We continue to share with you another story of a lady who was born disabled but looks forward and has not sat down to groan about her disability. It's not easy to live with a disability, but it's even more tormenting to realize that your offsprings have to live with the same disability for the rest of their lives. Salma Businge has 2 fingers on each of her limbs, but that's not her biggest problem. Her main concern is that 3 of her 4 children were born with a similar condition. This is her story. Salma, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Zaina.
Nice meeting you. So tell us more about your life.
Salma was born in 1984 from Hoima and to a father of 2 women. And she was born in a family of 18 children. 18 children. Yeah.
How many children were you from your mother's?
From my mother's side, we are 6, 3 girls and 3 boys.
I'm sure your mother has told you about her story when she gave birth to you.
She told me the time she produced me, she felt bad. She really felt that it was not meant for her. Yeah, then she felt like maybe my father would abandon her. But thank God, he did accept me.
So how was growing up?
Growing up was not easy. But my mom tried her level best. She really was trying to see that I also become someone in future. She would not be there for me all the time or for the rest of my life. So she had to train me in each and every work. You see, sometimes when she came up and she was like, you can dig. And people would be like, why do you have to let that girl go and dig? How is she going to handle the hoe? You can fetch water. Then people would be like, they would like say, no, she doesn't have to do that. For her, she has to be home. And then she was like, no. If you say I'm mistreating my own child, let me do it. But I know what the future holds. So I will not be there for her for the rest of her life. So why don't I have to let her do all that work for herself? So she always was there to train me, and she always trained me. There is a time I remember when I was pounding peanuts. So someone came and was like, why do you have to let, how can she hold the pesto? Then my mom was like, she will do it. And I really did it perfect.
And you're proud of her?
Yeah, I'm proud of her.
Okay. Yeah. Do you remember your first encounter at school?
Actually, when I was going to school, especially in my secondary, that is when, in my primary it was okay. I was still young, I wouldn't mind.
Do you recall your first day in school?
My first day.
How it was?
My first day in school, in a nursery school somewhere in Hoima. That day, the children would look at me and they would be like, you look at that girl, she's like this, she's disabled, but how is she doing? Everyone was sympathizing and some of them were scared and they really felt maybe sorry for me. And even me, when the moment they would look at me, I was like, God, why was I produced like this? Sometimes I would just hide myself. But then I coped up with the environment, with the teachers trying to put me up, and they really showed that I can be able like the other children.
How was your secondary life after?
With secondary, basically, I was coming from up country, from a rural school with a bit of a rural setting, and I was going to the city because when I completed my P7, I had 13 from a government school.
Oh, you got 13 points?
Yeah, I had 13. Then my dad was like, no, choose a school where I should take you. Then I was like, because I had a brother in Kawempe Muslim, so I was like, no, I also want to go to Kawempe Muslim. Then I was like, it's okay, I can take you there. Then he took me to Kawempe Muslim. But as I was going, because by that time, we did have shoes, really. My dad, I don't know, maybe my dad didn't just want to buy for us shoes. I just don't know. By that time...
All the children or only you?
Maybe,
all your sisters and brothers didn't
like
have shoes?
With me putting on shoes, I would put on shoes like for 2 weeks, 1 month, they are worn out. So it's like my dad was like, no, let me first let her go on with such a life. So when I was going to Kawempe, joining students from different schools, from different good schools, coming from rich families, and it was not easy because I went there in sandals. My dad took me in sandals. I spent a month in class when I'm putting on sandals.
How was the administration with you putting on sandals?
As if they thought I would not put on shoes, so they didn't bother me in any way. Yeah. But then my dad, after some time, he went, made me some shoes. I believe he also thought maybe I would not put on these ready-made shoes. So they just went, made for me some shoes and gave me to put on. But with the time I showed him, no, I was like, no, I cannot put on such shoes. And I really didn't like the shoes. They didn't look good I just didn't like them. So one time he sent me money. I went to Owino, bought some shoes. That's when it all started. But every time he had to buy for me at least a pair of shoes. And by that time, one interesting thing is, that time, I didn't know how to speak good English. Actually, I knew just maybe like, when you're coming from a rural school, I used to keep quiet. I didn't even talk. I would not talk to students. They would come, talk to me. I just didn't like it because I felt I didn't know.
You felt like you were not part of them.
Yeah. So it was not easy, but after some time, by the way, I even spent like 1 month. When I'm just quiet, then an OG came. That is when I started talking. I didn't know Luganda, I didn't know English, but when my OG came, I started talking my vernacular, my own language. So, but after some time I said to myself, for how long am I going to be like this? In case I get a job tomorrow, what am I going to speak? From there I started practicing, and I really liked learning English, and I learned it.
From your past experience and everything, how was it you joining campus? Here you are, you're from Hoima, then you come into the city, you have to overcome that fear in you of speaking a vernacular. Then there's this big challenge, you're going to join university. So how was it joining university?
When I completed my O-level, I went to a given school again. My dad was like, no, my daughter has passed because I got first grade. So he was like, my daughter has passed and I believe she can make it even if I put her in another school, because we had many other children who are going to school and he had.
So did you get points to go to campus?
Yeah, I did get the points to go to campus because I finished my senior 4. I went to Mandela SS, it's also in Hoima.
From Kawempe you went back to Hoima?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now my dad had very many children going to school, so the school fees was a burden for him at that time, so he had to take me to Mandela SS. Though it was also a bit expensive, but he tried to make it for me. In Mandela, we had a good life because we had teachers who really tamed us. And with me, I really don't know, maybe I had that inferiority complex. I really felt that I could not make it. Because it came to me by that during that time when I had joined again my A-level, because I felt again there was no one.
I think it's because of the changing of environments.
Maybe it could have been.
Many times, it's not even the pain of knowing that you're disabled. Quite often, it's the social phobia, when society decides to discriminate against you and make you feel less of a human being. Don't go away, because Life Stories will be right back.
NTV, turning on your world. ebitongole bino ebikuumaddembe byemu ku ebyo ebibaddewo ku lw'emizannyo mu mbeera yonna okulwa nti mumuzimba nti asobola okukolera Uganda Cranes ekyamakulu gye bujja. Omupiira gw'Obulaya gwafuuka nnyo ogwa culture tibaagala nnyo
anajjayo ennono yaabwe. Gizi ne Brad Frido mbalinze anaakutuka tunamulaba ogenda okulaba Isima nga n'emizannyo gye tubadde twesiga nga gifukamidde kati laba ebikonde.
The Tiger is back. Tiger Woods is back and he's #1 again.
I'm not one of those people that wrote off Tiger Woods.
Yeah. But I think it's going to be a very interesting game. You've got 2-3 months. You don't build a footballer in 2-3 months.
Kipsiro described it as the worst race he has ever taken part in.
Danny Green breaking the record for the playoff series in the NBA. He scored 25 3-pointers now. This year, I think, want to make sure they get themselves in a very comfortable position, probably top.
Bano ba degree mu Africa yensi yoka josanga omuntu ntalina degree mu byamasanyalazi naye asula mu nzikizi n'omugamba wasoma kintu nasoma life
bwe tubyogera kati tubanga kati tulinga era abamanto tulinga abazibiridde nga tutambula butambu abaana abo tubazaala tetumanyi nti bakula tukyali mu kazigo kamu
kati nange omwala nnenye alya ssente nkyajja kujja asaba ebizigo bya mitwalo 2
naye singa ogambye nti Bikira Maria agenda kuyiteeka lungu omukwata mu ngalo sasula emitwalo 2 nkulayirire abantu abakwata Bikira Maria
batono nnyo
bano abantu bali serious nnyo bakola ku ssente they're very serious. They have no time to laugh. Their laughter is expensive.
babimba n'amabeere babayita bubu show bubu show mwana ebbeere eryo
bubolo kyeki
ebbeere
yali rebranding
n'abakyala ne bakendeera
kati tulina abasajja bangi bammenge balina n'agabuto balina n'ebyediguli naye nga baboyi.
Turning on your world.
I have seen many disabled people who are more productive in society than the so-called normal ones. But every time someone feels inferior, that complex in you starts to eat up your demeanor and makes you lose focus and hope in life. For Salma, that wasn't the case. From the onset, her mother brought her up to be independent because she knew the life ahead of her wasn't a bed of roses. But in my own study, I have also realized that sometimes, even if you're hopeful and strong as a disabled person, the phobia generated by the people around you sometimes makes you lose the little hope in yourself.
I tried to cope up also, and then in 2004, I passed, and went to the university.
Still your dad was paying your school fees at university?
No, at the university, when I had just completed in my vacation, there was someone who came up and told my dad, you see, with her disability, she can't be sponsored at Makerere. Can she really make it? How, I mean, he really thought it would not come to sense, and he really felt it was a dream. But then I kept on pushing up. I pushed. One time I even went to my mom and told her, you see, give me money to go. Not make it. Really, she cannot. How will she get sponsorship? And while in my A level, I was doing Hague Lit, with Hague Lit, but unfortunately, literature, I dropped it because I had some pressure from a given teacher. I had to drop literature. And I felt he was putting me on pressure. He was like, a new student doing literature in senior 6, what? I really felt it was a burden for me, and I just dropped it. I left it.
So you just continued with Hague?
Yeah, I did Hague.
You didn't stroke until when you finished?
Yeah, I did stroke. Fortunately, when I applied on sponsorship under the disability scheme, they gave me. So I was on government sponsorship in Makerere.
Did your parents take extra measures to find out what really happened? Like take you to hospitals, to a few doctors around to really know why you like this?
I believe they did, though no one has ever told me, because people say my mom was so scared. She really felt why the firstborn and why the child that the husband wanted all the time. Maybe, you know, my dad wanted a baby girl, so he hadn't got one. And then my mom was so scared, and being the firstborn, and she had just got married, and she was being asked that, why are you doing this? There are several questions that she was being asked.
Okay, so here we are, we finished campus. Yeah. Any boyfriends around?
Yeah, while I was at campus, before I joined campus, I had in my vacation, I got some small job to do with British American Tobacco. So I was working as a cashier in my vacation. So I got someone. Yeah, he came, he made me pregnant, and I produced a baby boy. And when I gave birth to that boy, he was disabled.
He was also disabled?
Yeah, he was
disabled. Same disability you have?
Yeah, the same disability. So I was shocked.
Did you take any family planning before giving birth?
No, I didn't.
Any alcohol?
I don't drink.
So I think it's genetic.
It could be. I've tried to find out, and some of the doctors, one time I was in Mulago, and those doctors were like, they don't know what the problem could be. And one of the doctors told me, I need to find out, though I've not taken much effort to find out.
You gave birth to a boy, a girl?
I gave birth to a boy.
How old is he now?
He's 10 years.
He's 10 years?
Yeah.
Where is he?
With my mom.
Oh, okay.
Because by that time when I gave birth to him, so my mom had to take over, and it's up to this time that they are still with him, and they are free with him. They really like him staying with them, because they've never told me take this boy away.
I'm sure he's also comfortable there.
He is. Yes. He is comfortable.
Okay.
When I was at the university in my third year, the first semester, I got someone, then just got me when I'm coming from I was in a lecture. When I was in a lecture, he was like, why is this guy looking at me? I thought maybe he's looking at my disability or the way I'm writing. I really didn't feel comfortable when I was in that lecture. All of a sudden, I just moved out of the lecture and went to Africa. So when I was going to my hall, someone came from my back and was like, I'm Uthman. And I'm like, I looked behind, and I didn't say anything. I just walked on. He continued moving to me. I was like, no, I don't want to talk to you. But when I was talking to him, I even just feared myself. I was like, now he's going to say I'm disabled, and he's going to, it's really, the picture I felt that he would get in himself was like, why is this lady disabled? I'm talking to this person, and yet she's disabled. I didn't feel okay with it. So when I went, he continued, he came and talked to me, I talked to him, we went back for lectures. As I was going home, I saw him again following me. Then he followed me up to my hostel room. So he saw my room. I believe when he saw my room, that is when he started again coming back to see me.
Did he tell you what he really wanted, like from your first conversation?
When he came back to me, he told me that I want to marry you. And I was like, all of a sudden you want to marry me? The first time you meet me, then you want to marry me? Yeah. It can't work. Okay. I really didn't like it, and I was like, no, I can't go on with this. I can't move on. I can't move with this man, because if someone comes and tells me that I want to marry you at that time, you don't know me, I don't know you, then you come up and you say you want to marry me. How sure am I that you're someone who is meant for me? That is when I picked interest in him.
Was he also at campus with you?
Yeah, he was at campus also with me.
Okay, doing a different course?
Yeah, he was doing a different course.
Okay. So what happened after that?
After university, in fact, it was in May 2009, we left the university. Then he was like, I was pregnant by that time. The
You
first
both
time
graduated?
Yeah, we both graduated. But the first time before we could complete, I told him, because I wanted to send him away, I told him, you know, I'm pregnant. And he was like, you're pregnant? And he was real happy. He was like, yeah, I'm going to have a child. And he was happy, and yet I was not pregnant. Because I felt it was going to hurt him, and yet I had told him I'm pregnant, and he didn't go away from me. I felt I had to get pregnant at least. So in my last semester, I completed my semester when I'm pregnant. Then we went together to his home area, because for him he was going for school practice. He went along with me.
So what happened to the father of your first child?
The father of my first child, you see, he was not a Muslim. And you know, when you're coming from a Muslim background, like someone who is a Muslim, he also lost interest, because he had started giving me some money, like for school fees, like some upkeep. He liked me, okay, and he liked the son. But when they're not going to accept you when you're not a Muslim, he withdrew.
Okay. How was his first reaction when he found out that the child you had given birth to also is disabled?
I just thank God that I've been fortunate. Yeah, he didn't say anything. He liked the son, and he appreciated the way my child was.
Does he provide any help to his son?
No,
He the son?
does not.
Do you ever see him?
I've taken time, many years minus seeing him, because I think what set him back, he was like, I've already invested some money in some setting. You know, sometimes, yeah, I was coming from not a much well-to-do family, but at least with a better life. So when I had gone to Tororo, a rural setting, you live in a grass-thatched house, it was hard for me, but I had to cope up because I had nothing to do. And I was like, if my people would come and see where I'm living, they would all shed tears. But life went on. So when I came from the hospital, he sent me back to the village. I went to the village.
You were staying with him in the village?
No, for him he was staying somewhere else trying to do school practice.
Okay.
Then I went to the village.
Where was he staying? Still in Tororo?
Yeah, still in Tororo. But then it was not easy. As I was going, I would shed tears. I have my first son, he's disabled. And I've produced another one, he's also disabled. Is my husband really going to accept me? He has not shown me anything. He has not reacted in any bad way. But I don't know what he's thinking. I really thought so many things. And some people would ask me, but madam, why are you crying? And I was like, no, is the child dead? I was like, no, he's alive. Have they not given you money? Is your husband not looking after you? I was like, there is no problem. I reached home. When I reached home in the village, I found when all places are locked. So I went to the kitchen, I slept there in the kitchen. I locked myself inside there, and I started shedding tears. Staying with the old man I was staying with, he came at home and was like, everyone was happy, she has produced, but I really feared that they are going to see my child, and my firstborn in this family is disabled. I really feared them to see my child.
That was their first time seeing the child?
Yeah, it was their first time seeing the child. So when he came, I told him, and he saw me shedding tears. He was like, no, feel at home. There is no problem. That is the child that God has given you. I didn't want to tell him that I had another child behind who was disabled. But then I told him. And then
who was this you're talking to?
There's an old man I was staying with, like a friend. Okay. Yeah, like a friend. Because me, I was not used to Tororo and I didn't know their language. So that man knew English, so I had to be staying with him. Yeah.
How many children do you have now?
I have 4.
You have 4.
Yeah, but 3 are boys and 1 is a girl. But the boys are all disabled and the girl is fine. Because the girl in the middle there, she's the 3rd born. And when I was giving birth to that, when I gave birth to her, I did ask the father. The father told me, she was behind me holding my hand as I was producing. Then the father told me, you have produced a perfect girl. And I was like, are you sure? I started talking and I talked and I talked and the doctors were like, no, you stopped. They even hid the child and they saw that I was real happy. And I felt that I have also made it, at least for the first time. But okay, with her, she made me happy and my husband was fine. And then she really loved the girl and she was proud of her. Yeah. But with the last born I have, giving birth to her, and they showed me the boy, I was shocked because I knew with the other boy that was the end of it all. Because I thought after I had produced those 2, with this girl.
The girl coming out normal, you thought maybe now it's done,
yeah.
The others will be normal.
Yes, that is what I thought.
Okay.
But I was shocked. And it also came up that I also didn't want people to see because now I was in another setting and you know with some relatives of the husband there, one would say this, one would say the other, people would talk a lot. So I didn't feel comfortable. But I had to cope up because the father of the children said, I love my children.
So your husband embraced the whole situation?
He was okay with it. Yeah, but after some time, I realized maybe he was not okay with it, but he always kept on telling me with my children, I just love them the way they are. That is, those are the children that God has given me, so I don't need to go in for what God has not given me. Exactly. Yeah.
Many times it's disabled. Quite often, it's the social phobia, when society decides to over a human being. Don't go away, because Life Stories will be right back.
NTV, turning on your world.
Join Cats and the Platinum DJs as they bring you some mad DJ skills and crazy video mixes. Remember to call in with your music requests and also get a chance to win some incredible goodies.
It's gonna be brand new, brand hot.
We don't stop. Rocking the nation.
The passion, and then really how fast you can really start your own project.
Identify a need and look for the best way in satisfying that need.
We actually have unique objectives, and unique objectives need unique skills also. But from the first year, I'm able to see we are making a change.
I like people starting when they are still young. I don't need to wait when I'm retiring at the age of 50 to start doing businesses.
I really advise the youth to really take up fish farming. It's not a bad project.
You should have short-term goals and then long-term goals, so that when you finish your short-term goals, you don't stop.
Sawa satungo ova mu buliri. Ndi yoyo enkyalo. It's his mother. Mwana wani boyita gwe kano.
Chris and I are going to have to adopt.
Adopt?
My mother doesn't drink. You don't need to lie to me.
Nze tompita nnyoko sinze nkuzaala. Situka. Kubanga buno obuwala buno .com. Siwagala. Twala eri obugumba. Soko ofulume. Those documents were meant for you. him.
Have you so quickly forgotten?
Know about this. You either marry me or forget about me.
Please, holiday. Are you available?
Don't you dare touch me.
Hati wayagadde kusimbula lutalo tulutalo. Mukazi omukadde nkyalwana.
Gentleman is not an engineer.
Instead of the man feelings.
Don't ask me questions.
When I got closer, his member was dismembered.
For this month?
No, what I am saying is Mr. Sembacharo does not himself.
Okay, bamubire ngatto ze kumpi kitunda kikugune.
The court has reached a verdict.
Have you ever seen Enchima? Checho cholabao.
Lwaki bakutuuma katabula?
Can you please control yourselves?
Madam, I have a baby at home.
NTV, turning on your world.
Salma's story might be similar to your story, but the difference is she shared hers. I'm really proud of you, Salma. How was life for you there? I'm sure it wasn't easy coping up with 3 children.
It was not easy because, you know, sometimes with relatives who can say, now you went in for another girl from a different background and you left our girls here, now you see the kind of children you're bringing to our home. Yeah, they real said it, and some of them were like, why don't you take those children? They are bringing, they call it, in quotes, they call it kisirani, they are bringing such things in our family. But I had to accept everything as they said it, and I didn't have anything to do. With me, it was not easy, really, it was not easy, because I thought that maybe in future I would produce children who don't have disability. But when it kept on going, I really felt that maybe they would even one time send me away from their family, and they would be like, no, we don't want you anymore, just go away.
How long were you in Tororo?
In Tororo, I spent there 2 years.
Your husband was sending you money for upkeep for the children and yourself?
He would send us some money, but it was a hassle.
It was a hassle because was he working or he wasn't working?
Yet, you know, with money from education, from teaching, sometimes they are peanuts. So especially from private schools, he would earn very little. And you saw when you, like me, like maybe I've produced disabled children, and you know, with the youth, because he was still young and I was still young, you know, they want to spend their money. So sometimes you would not know. So, but it was a hassle getting what to eat.
You graduated. Have you ever thought of looking for a job?
Yeah, because I graduated in 2009. And when I went to Tororo, I worked somewhere as a teacher, but they were not paying us. So I had to leave the job because I wouldn't work for nothing. So that is when I tried to come back to Kampala and try to look for something to do.
Okay. Did you get something to do?
Not yet. For a moment, I've not yet got anything to do.
So how are you and your family surviving?
With my children, you see, when we came back from Tororo, my husband at first rented for us somewhere. So he tried to rent for us, like he paid for 3 months, and the 4th month, the 5th month, we didn't see him come home, and I was disturbed. I had to move up and down. You have to look for what to eat. The kids are crying. The maid, because I had a maid, because I wouldn't stay alone, and all the children were young, and he had given me a maid. I didn't have money to pay her. He was nowhere to be seen. So it was not easy with me. But later on, I went to their home, to the grandparents. By the way, when I first went even to the police, I was like, no, I can't keep up with this, because I have these children. Their father has left us in the house, and he's not giving us any assistance, and what should I do? I went to the police. He was like, then they tried to contact him, because for him, he had some contacts with some people. They gave us the number. We contacted him, and he was like, no, I'm going to be giving them assistance every week. I'll be giving them 70,000. But it came to pass, he didn't give us anything.
Did you try to contact him before going to the police?
We didn't know. I didn't know his number, so I had no way to talk to him.
What do you think was going on with him? Because this is someone who loves you, someone he's been there for you, he's your husband. So why out of the blue change numbers and just abandon you like that?
I also ask myself why all of a sudden change. Maybe sometimes I think maybe he does not have the source of income to give us what we need. Maybe sometimes I think maybe he's just tired of us, maybe just tired. You know, when you have something behind cause of everything, you really have to refer to that. Maybe it could be that I have those kids who are disabled and he really feels he does not want to be with me. And then you see such kind of things. So it would not be easy for me.
But I think sometimes it's not good to always think of blaming someone. I think what we should do is be considerate, because it might be something else. It might be poverty. He might be struggling to also live.
That is what I also thought, because later on when he couldn't give us the money, I was like, maybe he does not have the money. Even up to this time, he's also not yet employed, because wherever he would go to teach, you know, with the payments, he's not not in a government school. He really also has
really
to.
a hassle for both of you.
Yeah.
So are you living with your children now?
When we came to Kampala, and it was hard to parent, it was hard to get food. We don't have the capability to look after these children. She stays in Chemando. She wanted to help me, but she didn't have the capability. But then she told me, you see what, you had made some bricks in the village, because we were trying to construct, then money was scarce, and then we had to abandon everything, and then we had made some bricks. So my mother-in-law was like, no, you know what, you go and sell those bricks, then you get some money, you begin up something to do. Surprised me. People, because they knew I was in a need, 10,000 bricks, they gave me 150,000 shillings, and it wouldn't make anything. And by then my husband also came back. When I had just got the money, he was like, no, you know, in Juba there are so many opportunities. Why don't you give me the money and I go there and make money? I was like, yeah, I also need money. I gave him the money, but then nothing came out.
When did you give him the money?
It was at the beginning of this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you in touch with him?
Sometimes we talk, but most of the times his phone is not on.
Have you tried looking for him?
Not really.
Like in Tororo?
No, I've not tried looking for him.
What about his parents? His parents don't know where he is?
Communication with his parents, and I don't know if they know where he is, because if really they knew where he is, they would find him, and at least he gives in assistance for these children.
Yeah. So you're living alone now?
At this time I'm living alone, because when those hardships came in, my father-in-law was like, you know what, give me those children, go out and look for something to do. Though I'm not also having all that money that I can cater for these children, but I'll try. Whatever is there, I'll share with these children. So he took the children away from me, and he was like, let me stay with them. I gave them to him. I also, for a moment, went out to look for somewhere to stay. But it was not easy getting somewhere to stay, because when I moved out, most of my relatives, they thought maybe I had done a grave mistake. Why could I have got married to someone from the other side? Why could I have endured all the torture? Because in my marriage, it was not easy. Really, it was not easy, because for the 4 years I've been with my husband, though he showed that maybe he loved me, though he said it that I love you, though he said that I love your children, but he did some other things which really hurt me. And they really hurt me. Because if any woman would not endure a man who comes home with someone's snap and shows you several times, not once, not twice, you really won't feel bad.
As in someone's picture, a woman's picture.
Yeah.
So he came and showed you a woman's picture.
Yeah, I would find them in my bedroom. I would find them maybe in my bags, in his bags, and it really hurt me. And my relatives were like, why do you have to undergo all that stress? You're still young, you can get someone else to marry you. I was like, no, but I've already produced. Even then, if I go in for another man, I'll produce disabled children. And it will
maybe
become...
he might have abandoned you the same way.
It will become a cycle and it will hurt me more. Let me cope up with this. I have nothing to do.
I think the best thing to do now is to concentrate on raising your children.
That is what I basically want to do.
Through Salma's story, I have learned something about life. As long as we are on this journey called life, we have the power to determine how we live our lives. Salma is living her life, and it's only better for us to be inspired and pick a leaf.
Is there anything you want to tell our viewers?
Before I say something, in my marriage life, basically it was not easy. And even up to this time, it's not easy because I'm not yet settled. See, staying away from your children, they are still young, and you don't know what maybe their father thinks about, because even where they are, he does not provide any kind of assistance. They are there, and their life is not the way really it is supposed to be, the way they live. And I really, I appreciate the efforts they put in, but at least they need a mother love. Where to stay, like staying with them, that maybe I can't be able to pay some rent and I stay with my children, I can't be able to provide food. This time it's not easy for me to do it because I would not be able to stay with them. And the time I was told to go out and look for something to do, I really felt, where am I going to begin from? I tried to call some of my relatives around and they were like, you know, and why do we have to come in and help her? Really, they left me on. And one of my brothers came up and was like, no, I don't have to condemn you. Come and stay with me. Whatever I'll eat, you will eat. But as we are trying to look up for something to do, we try and we try, but no employment has come over yet. And life is not easy this time. And I really believe maybe if I would get some kind of employment, that I would be able to look after these children, and I make sure that at least they're also transformed as better men and women in the future.
You may be thinking, why does God allow all this to happen to one person? Well, I'm thinking the same, but I've come to realize that there's a lot to life than blaming everything for what you are. She is positive about her life and now looking for a job to take good care of. Anyone out there willing to help her, please don't hesitate to call the numbers on your screen. This is Life Stories, and I've been your host, Zuena Chirema. Till next time, God bless you.
NTV, turning on your world.
Nange nkityamu oluusi naye nga mwebale nnyo. Ababoda mwebale kubanga mutulengera mpozi n'abanyakuzi n'abakubi b'obutayimbwa. Ani kyoyagala okumanya oluyimba lu akaakabi, ani akoze atya, ani ali luddawa, ani akoze kaliwa byonna byonna.
Sirigolola sikuba ngumi, siri masannyalaze ojjanga n'onkwatako nga bebe kkulu ndi ku kaseti.
Tuli live wano. Kasavukanya mu muziki omulungi omukadde omupya.
Amma kati okuze ne mami wo takyayomba. I'm next on stage now. Ready?
Wow.
Bajjukira eminagiro gye beesuuliranga, n'enzijukira n'ebibindi bye banfuuyiranga.
got no time to play no game.
Wanoka ku TV yo gomanyi mwe munamanya.
For me, I'm probably in Metropolis. I do this for the love, so this is non-profit shit. I'm bored walking, so you can call this monopoly.
Log in.
NTV so magnetic.
Bobanga dalo yagala kunya omuntu tabeera nze.
I don't even know what to ask you because I just feel like I'm standing next to Juliana.
But not the sugar, the salt, or the bread, but brought the best in order to promote all the sectors that you've got.
For the glitz and glamour of Kampala's most flamboyant people and events.
Exclusive, woo! I love it.
I'm so shun bored up right now.
Log in only on NTV.
Have a baby by me, baby. Be a millionaire. I write the check before the baby comes.
When we meet people who are different from us, we tend to ostracize them.
Kati guno gwe tumazeeko gubadde gwa 22 ali wasi mulwadde.
I asked him what is happening there. She said that I don't have a leg.
Yet it is these differences that bring out our individual uniqueness. Fear.
They told me that we have done our part. God is also to do his part.
Despair.
Just looked at myself as someone who is not going to survive definitely.
But I remember crying because my feet were hurting and they were swollen at the time.
Sawa eno nga nazze kuzaala nkuzaalisha kuzaalishira dda bulungi.
Life stories.
NTV, turning on your world.
Today on Showcase Uganda, we visit Bunyonyi, the lake of many birds, and also experience Lake Mburo's diverse wildlife. We start our journey at the Kabale Road junction, branching off to Bunyonyi. This route is a winding marram road which offers great scenery. You can take brief stops now and again to admire the captivating views which are typical of the landscape in this part of the country. All too soon, you will come upon one of the most beautiful sights you've ever beheld, Lake Bunyonyi. Lake Bunyonyi, which literally means place of many little birds, is located in southwestern Uganda and is 6 kilometers above the town of Kabale.
It is 25 by 7 kilometers and with depths ranging from 45 to 900 meters in different places. This makes it the deepest crater lake in Uganda and the second deepest in Africa. It shares its shores with Rwanda. Apparently, the lake was created as a result of a volcanic eruption, which blocked a river's flow to create an enchanting sight of a narrow body of water, interspersed with tiny islands and surrounded by picturesque green hills.
It has 29 islands which have different stories to tell, which adds to the fascination and mystery surrounding the lake. The best way to connect with all the intrigue surrounding Lake Bunyonyi is to go for a ride aboard one of the motorized boats, which can be hired from the jetty at Rutinda. could also experience the ride in a dugout canoe. The ride on a lake is an encounter with captivating scenery. The local Bachiga have cut down the woods on the surrounding verdant hills to make room for their fields, which has resulted into neat terraces with pretty mosaic patterns created by the women's digging. Very soon, we come upon the islands and we are astounded by the small size of the one with the saddest story to tell, Punishment Island. According to tradition, the Bachiga were very concerned about girls keeping their virginity until marriage. If a girl made the mistake of getting pregnant outside wedlock, she was banished to the tiny Akampene, or Punishment Island, to die of hunger. She could only be saved if some man without enough cows to pay bride price decided to get a free wife from Akampene. Bwama is the biggest of the islands and also has its own sad story. It used to host a leprosy treatment center established in the 1920s by a missionary doctor, Leonard Sharp. The center had replaced the only major island village to create an isolated environment for thousands of patients from East and Central Africa. Happily, the center was closed down in the 1980s as a drug for leprosy became available. It is now housing education facilities. Bushara is another tree-filled island which has a circular bird watching trail. Other islands host a wide variety of tourist accommodation, ranging from resorts to campsites to meet all budgets and different needs, including a satellite TV receiver. We soon caught up with some members of the endangered Batwa community who live in the vicinity and had come down on their market day at Kievu. The Batwa are the only tribe of pygmies in Uganda. This unique tribe were originally hunters, but this culture has original homeland, the forests, have been turned into a reserve to protect the endangered mountain gorillas. The Batwa have now had to adapt to their new environment. Lake Bunyonyi, as its name suggests, is a bird lover's haven. You can take a ride while watching spectacular bird life in the surrounding forest swamps and the water's edge. The bird life here is prolific, over 200 species recorded, with Uganda's national bird, the crested crane, a common sighting. In spite of the different campsites which have developed in the vicinity, the lake has remained ideal for visitors to commune with nature and enjoy the scenery. The lake is reputedly free of bilharzia and is an ideal place to swim, canoe and relax. It makes a popular day trip from Kabale, which would take either 45 minutes to 1 hour on foot, 25 minutes by bicycle or 15 minutes by car. We leave Bunyonyi completely refreshed and rejuvenated. For those of you who would like a quick souvenir of Lake Bunyonyi, just get yourself a 5,000 shilling note and you will find an artistic impression of Bunyonyi printed on it. When Showcase returns, travel with us through the fascinating wilds of Lake Mburo National Park. After traveling for about 3 hours along the Mbarara Masaka Road, you will find yourself at Sanga Trading Center. Kilometers later, driving along a bumpy road, you come face to face with the Sanga Gate of Lake Mburo National Park. The park can also be accessed from Nshara Trading Center through the Nshara Gate. The smallest of all Uganda's savanna national parks, Lake Mburo, is only 260 square kilometers. Its wooded and open savanna forests, rocky outcrops, bushes, thickets and rich wetlands are home to a surprising diversity of plants and animals. Gazetted in 1982, the park benefits from a good working relationship with the local Bahima community, who have realized that the park is an asset. This is because a percentage of the park's income goes to supporting community development projects such as schools and clinics. The Bahima, mainly a pastoral community owning large herds of longhorn cattle, which you will sometimes find grazing within the park's grounds, side by side with the zebras and impala. They have taken to farming variations of matoke, which is a staple food for many of the communities in central and western Uganda. As you travel from the gate to the park headquarters, you'll be overwhelmed by the variety of interests and color. Our explorations will entail following a number of different tracks, which will give us an experience of the park's diverse wildlife, which is usually more prolific in the morning.
Our progress down the impala track brought us face to face with small herds of impala, with the occasional warthog wandering in the background.
Impala belong to the family of antelopes and in Uganda can only be found in Lake Mburo National Park on young shoots during the wet season and herbs and shrubs during the dry season. Though they're very similar to cobs, they are differentiated by the black strip, which runs along the middle of the lower back to the tail. The male impala are territorial animals and fiercely guard their territory. They are very easily differentiated from the females by their horns. Female impala do not possess horns. A herd is usually made up of one dominant male and a number of females and fawns. Occasionally, you will catch sight of a lone male impala, which keeps close to the herd and waits for an opportunity when the dominant male is preoccupied to mate with any of the females. In East Africa, young are born all year round, but birth peaks usually coincide with the rains. The fawns are suckled for 4 to 6 months and grow rapidly, reaching maturity at a little over a year. The young males, however, are evicted from their mothers' groups when they are 6 months old, staying around the edges of the herd until they join a bachelor group. During this transition period, they are very vulnerable to predators. The young males will not be mature enough to hold a territory until they are 5 to 6 years old.
Good evening and welcome to NTV Weekend Edition, this 14th day of September 2013. I am Rukshana Namwimba and we'll get right into the news. But first, a quick look at some of our top stories tonight.
It would be difficult for Uganda Wildlife Authority to approve.
Uganda Wildlife Authority under pressure to give away game park land to investor.
Are you aware that Parliament is about to pass the law to regulate the use of genetically modified foods in Uganda and the disadvantages and advantages of these foods? Join me, Agnes Nandutu, for details on that story.
Junior and senior swimmers today chase qualifying marks for the Continental Championships to be held in Kampala in April next year. Join me, Alfred Odong, for the results of today's event.
You are watching NTV Weekend Edition.
Good evening once again. Now, the Uganda Wildlife Authority has said it will not buckle under pressure from high-profile government officials to cede land to an investor to build a golf course at Murchison Falls National Park. UWA officials revealed this during a fact-finding mission to the park conducted by lawmakers on the Parliamentary Committee on Tourism, Trade and Industry this week.
Murchison Falls National Park is the largest in the country, straddling over 3,800 square kilometers of land. The park teems with a variety of wildlife, flora and fauna, and in 2011, it was listed amongst the top 10 bird sites in Africa. As Uganda's tourism continues to grow by leaps and bounds, Murchison Falls National Park remains a jewel in the crown. But there is fear that if the Uganda Wildlife Authority cedes territory to the Madivani Group, the proprietor of Para and Chobe Safari Lodges, it will threaten the ecosystem in the park. Madivani Group wants part of the land to construct a sparkling golf field for their guests.
So somebody has got money, he has looked at the wildlife, in the evening he wants to go and play golf. What would be the dangers you are seeing in introducing such an activity in the national parks?
That golf course may be a good thing, but not in all areas of the park or conservation. For example, there are nightmares of security. You wouldn't construct a golf course here.
But Uganda Wildlife Authority is against the approval.
In the case of golf course, an environmental assessment was carried out, which had a number of implications. Now, if it is a business which does not enhance conservation, it would be difficult for Uganda Wildlife Authority to approve.
UA officials told lawmakers on the Parliamentary Committee on Tourism, Trade and Industry that high-profile government officials have continued to pile pressure on them, asking for the land.
On many occasions, been misunderstood. Sometimes they say we are anti-investment, which is not true.
According to Wildlife Authority officials, building a golf pitch in the park will violate park regulations, and this will put lives of tourists at risk.
Our fear was the safety of the tourists. Once they come to the park, the safety of the tourists. Right now that area even has lions. They were sighted. It has buffaloes, it has elephants, it has all sorts of problems. But also you cannot bring a foreign species into the park. And we know golf courses, you have to have those greens. Where will you get the grass to plant? You have to put fertilizers. We are not allowed to put fertilizers. We are not allowed to fence.
Earlier on, President Museveni had asked Madivani Group to agree with the Uganda Wildlife Authority to carve out a piece of land from Murchison Falls National Park and Queen Elizabeth National Park to construct a golf course.
An alternative site, we have identified a site, negotiations are going on, and we shall have a golf course in the neighborhood of the park. That's what everybody wants.
It's not the first time that national park land has been parceled out. The Civil Aviation Authority, without the authority of Uganda Wildlife Authority, allocated itself a piece of land at Pakuba, Murchison Falls National Park, to build an airstrip. The construction of the golf field around Chobe Hotel by Madivani Group raises conservation concerns to the wildlife, and Uganda Wildlife Authority says they will not allow it. Jingo Francis, NTV.
An outbreak of measles has been reported in some districts in western Uganda. According to the Uganda Red Cross, the outbreak is in the districts of Isingiro, Chenjojo, Kamwenge and Mubende. District officials in Chenjojo claim that one child could have succumbed to the disease.
There are several measles cases that have been confirmed in the district of Mubende, where we have 19 cases. In Isingiro, we have 6 cases. In Chenjojo district, there are 20 cases. And then in Kamwenge, there are 72 cases. The sub-counties affected in Mubende are Chitenga sub-county, Chivalinga, Chiyuni, and Bajeza. Then in Isingiro, it's only one sub-county, that is Mbale sub-county. In Chenjojo, we are looking at Butunduzi sub-county, Nyakwanzi sub-county, Bugachi sub-county. And in Chenjojo, there is a child that died, and the authorities suspect that the child could have died of measles. In Kamwenge, the affected sub-counties are Kabambiro, Bujiri, Nkoma, and Kamwenge Town Council. In Kamwenge, one of the sub-counties affected, Nkoma, is currently hosting the refugees that are in the resettlement camp. So what we've been able to do as the Red Cross and the partners, the Ministry of Health is taking lead to see that we intensify the routine immunization that is ongoing. And we have already trained 430 volunteers to try and go out to do what we call social mobilization to help combat children that are eligible for immunization and also the voters. So we will move into communities in these districts to see that the parents take children for immunization against measles.
The Ministry of Health has confirmed the Chenjojo case but says there is no cause for alarm as drugs have been dispatched to the area. A House committee is currently scrutinizing the National Biotechnology and Biosafety Bill that seeks to provide mechanisms to regulate research, development and the general use of genetically modified organisms in the country. The Parliamentary Committee on Science and Technology has traversed the globe, visiting countries that grow and use genetically modified foods, and it is in the final stages of presenting a final report to the plenary. But as the debate over food security rages, there is fear that blue chip companies from the West are attempting to influence politicians and academicians to vouch for GMOs.
Lawmakers on the Parliamentary Committee on Science and Technology are in the final stages of compiling a report on the National Biotechnology and Biosafety Bill 2012. The bill seeks to regulate the use of genetically modified foods in Uganda. Lawmakers have been conducting consultations with scientists and have also visited countries that use GMOs to learn the best practices.
These GMOs are here with us. Recently, I visited the National Biotechnology Authority of Kenya. They did indicate to us that they have cleared GMOs in transit to Uganda on several occasions.
For example, recently when we were in Kenya, there are things which we discovered from there, which made us as a committee again to, personally, maybe let me say personally, it made me personally to say I think we need still to move slowly.
GMOs or genetically modified foods are plants or animals that have been genetically engineered with DNA from bacteria, viruses or other plants and animals. But even as the committee prepares to table a report to Parliament, there is a raging debate over whether Uganda should accept GMOs. Some MPs who are against the usage of GMOs are advocating for a ban. But MPs on the House Committee on Science and Technology think there should be a legal framework to regulate the GMO industry.
For example, I know most of the GMOs come with their own with chemicals that when you plant them, put them into soil, they affect the genetics of all other organisms which are grown from within a radius of about 25 kilometers. So some of which are extremely dangerous, some of which deteriorate or degrade the soil fertility.
The negative information about GMOs propagated by activists deserves to be rejected with contempt, because most of it is not factual.
We should have definitely a law either to stop, ban, or regulate.
In countries around the globe like Australia, Japan and other countries in the European Union, there are stringent restrictions and outright bans on the production and sale of GMOs. Agnes Nandutu, NTV Weekend Edition.
Now, it is on this very issue that we engage you tonight as we ask, in light of food security, should Uganda accept genetically modified foods? In light of food security, should Uganda accept genetically modified foods? That is the question. And to have your say, text 8778 followed by your name and location, and we shall be reading some of your comments during tonight's newscast. In this week's Connect, we focus on Yumbe district, a backwater in West Nile, an area which lies at the parallels with South Sudan. Yumbe is the forgotten land without electricity and tarmac roads.
Yumbe district, which lies on the parallels of the Uganda-South Sudan border, was carved out of a rural district. More than 12 years down the road, Yumbe, which consists of 13 sub-counties and a town council, still bears the hallmarks of a rural backwater. The roads are untarred, and the dark alleys in the night make it unbearable for an area which is not connected to the power grid.
In the West Nile region, our district is a poor district. But I don't know, government don't like to help ourselves. First of all, you'll never see those electric things here, and in our other towns you'll get a DC columns. But I don't know, government refused to give for us columns.
This is the most developed area in Yumbe district. It is their main town. However, it is rather dull. There are no people in this town, something which does not amuse the business people within.
Definitely, business can't be all that good.
And we stay starting morning up to sunset, we just get only 420, 2,000 like this. And this one we use it to buy food only.
There's no business here. That's full stop.
Today is the market day, but people go about their business with little excitement. For an area which lies at the tipping point of West Nile, it is expected to boom with trade. But the ailing roads between Yumbe and South Sudan have crippled commerce. Yet, with barely any economic activity, Yumbe has one of the highest populations in the country.
578,000. This population is a projection based on UBO's 2002 census. 80% of the population in this district are Muslim. One man, those who can manage, can marry up to 4. So with the high fertility rate of our women, if you have 4, multiplied by 8.
A population officer says the residence explosion is not helped by the services available. Health is yet another concern in the district.
We have one district hospital, which was constructed in the 60s with a carrying capacity of only 100 beds. So our expectation is that the district is actually serving as a referral point for the neighboring districts and including also Sudan coming to Yumbe district.
We receive patients from LPD in a month around 5,000 now. And therefore this means that our these facilities cannot accommodate the population growth.
The hospital here lies in a moribund state as government continues to make empty promises to expand and rehabilitate it. For a district involved by poverty, there is hardly any accommodation. Yumbe has only 3 guest houses. Only one is functional.
We have problems for water, we have problems for electricity. We have only
People in many hotels, people only use generators. There is no proper electricity.
A lamp is placed in a room of the guest house when the rolling generators are switched off.
Our power is from 7 to 11. Once it is down, no way. The place just becomes dark.
By 6 p.m., this town goes to sleep as residents grope in the dark to make their way home. However, there is a ray of hope. The literacy levels are at 58%.
Although we have still problems of infrastructures for schools. We have been supported under the school facility grants. We have other support from African Development Bank, but we feel a lot is to be done based on the youthful population that we have.
But there is a lot of absenteeism as a result of house chores and rampant teenage pregnancies, amongst other reasons.
I didn't go to school because there's raining. I am in Central. If I went to school with Central, I will be dirty in class. My problem just shoes.
Disillusioned youth spend the day chewing cat.
The lifestyle of the people, as you can see in the background, is still too traditional and rudimentary by aspect of taking marungi all day long, not productive, and we feel that is a very big challenge to the population.
Women do odd jobs to survive.
We are cooking and we are selling them from the restaurants.
From 1979 to 2002, the district was ravaged by insurgencies and was a home of South Sudan refugees escaping conflict.
People knew it as a place of war and people would fear to reach and come to Yumbe. But currently we are enjoying because this is a peaceful place.
With just a few structures emerging, the residents of Yumbe are apathetic towards the government for not honoring the social contract. Florence Salimba, NTV.
The Daily Monitor, Standard Chartered Bank and the National Forestry Authority have started a 3-year nationwide reforestation project to restore forests in areas where they have been cut down. The initiative, meant to boost environmental protection efforts, started with Navugulu Central Forest Reserve in PG District.
The Boza Hill in PG District harbors the Navugulu Central Forest Reserve, one of the biggest in Uganda. This forest reserve is not as good as it used to be many years ago. The pressure from the community around the reserve is worrying conservationists. In a move to conserve forests like this, Daily Monitor and the Standard Chartered Bank have partnered with the National Forestry Authority to restore forests nationwide by planting trees where they've previously been cut down.
People are cutting down the trees and yet we need the trees. So as a company, through our brands, Dembe FM and KFM, together with Monitor Publications, we have joined hands in a countrywide tree planting activity. We believe that if we join hands together with these companies, we can restore the forests that were there before.
The duo hope to replant over 1,800 indigenous tree species on 100 hectares at Navugulu Forest Reserve.
The destruction that the harsh climatic conditions leave in their wake are of great alarm to everyone. We therefore cannot afford the luxury to sit back and not do anything to try and reverse the effects of what our actions have generated.
The Ministry of Water and Environment have appreciated the gesture that it is expected to fight climate change.
The whole world is experiencing challenges of adverse climate change as a result of increasing population pressure, of converting forest cover into agricultural land.
Climate change has been blamed on activities like tree cutting, which affect the rainfall formation process.
We are so grateful for the efforts to restore our forest. We are hopeful that the next generation will live happily.
Gertrude Tumusime, Witkwade, NTV.
We'll now take a short break, but we'll return with these stories and so much more. Still to come in Let's Talk Tonight, understanding the .com teenager. And Uganda thrashes South Sudan in the under-20 women's football.
Grow your money when you open a DFCU fixed deposit account or smart plan. DFCU's fixed deposit and smart plan accounts lets you earn your interest monthly, allows you to borrow against your money at discounted rates, and what's more, you also get a bonus on your interest, a first in Uganda. So, when you need to open a fixed deposit or smart plan account, you are better off with one that offers flexibility that you can bank on. Visit us today and let's help you boost your savings, or call 0800 222 000 toll free for more information. DFCU, with pleasure.
Kiwi, Africa's #1 for shine and protection.
UA is launching the new wildlife card. You can purchase the wildlife card at UA headquarters Kamocha or Buhoma Park headquarters, starting with Bwindi Impenetrable. Our staff will serve you at the park gate and issue you a receipt to access the national park. The wildlife card, our new and improved way to access Uganda's wildlife.
Now that Airtel Money and Warid Pesa have become one, which code am I supposed to use to access my account?
*185#. Exactly! *185# is now the only code that you need to access your account. Go ahead, try it. *185#. Warid Pesa and Airtel Money. Simple, secure, instant.
We're watching NTV Weekend Edition.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Now, earlier on this evening in the NTV Weekend poll, we asked, in light of food security, should Uganda accept genetically modified foods? To have your say, text 8778, followed by your name and location. Let's now sample some of your comments so far. We start off with Suna Luantale Evelyn, who says, no, GMOs are dangerous. Some states in the US banned the use of GMOs. Recently, an Indian court banned the use of GMOs in India. There is a good reason as to why they were banned in these countries. We take another comment from Davis Wambwa, who says, we should not accept. It is so dangerous to our health and environment. However much they grow quick and big, they cause more harm than good. Even when they provide economic advantage to the producer in the short term, they cause health harm to the consumer in the long term. Now, do stay tuned as we shall be bringing you more of your comments at the tail end of this newscast. Now, why do teenagers behave the way that they do? Why the unnecessary risks? And why do many of them seem to have a penchant for rebellion? These are just a few of the age-old questions many parents ask themselves, at least at one point in the process of parenting teenagers. Tonight, we delve into parenting teenagers in the 21st century and address some of the challenges on Let's Talk. So on the set tonight, I am joined by Mrs. Confidence Nkurununji, a teenage counselor with Counseling Care Center, Mr. Stephen Langa, Executive Director, Family Life Network. And of course, the show would not be complete without a teenager. So we are joined by a young, lovely lady, Esther Mulyanti, a Form 5 student at Gayaza High School. Good evening all, and let's talk. I'll start off with you, Esther. The stereotypical view of today's teenager is they're lazy kids who just want to sleep in, play video games, surf the net, hang out with their friends. What do you make of this? Is this true?
Yeah, it is. We just want to have fun. People have this thing of, no, I don't feel like reading, I don't feel like following rules every time, and people think like they've grown or they feel like they can be on their own. So we end up doing what we want to do. We don't want to be told what to do. Yeah.
Do you think this is a good thing?
No.
Okay, what should parents know about parenting the 21st teenager? 21st century teenager. We'll start with
one of the
Salanga.
things parents need to know is that the environment where we are parenting children today is different from the time we were being parented. I mean, when we were being parented, there was only one television, UTV, there was only one Radio Uganda. Today, I mean, things have just gone haywire. We have so much information. We are living the information super highway and all that. There's a lot of influence from outside. So all these things affect the environment where the children are living today. And so it affects their behavior.
So why do we see, and I'll address this to you, Mrs. Nkurununji, then why do we see parents still trying to parent teenagers like they were living in the other century and not the 21st century, despite this knowledge?
Okay, you will actually bear with them who are parented in that century. So when you bring up your experience, it's only normal. Although I would say that now being a parent of the 21st century is very important for me and for parents out there to understand and appreciate the different times and even the different stages of development. Different teenagers are different. Each teenager is an individual. Some are emotional, others are sensitive, others are normal. So it is very important for us to take on this challenge and take it on as 21st century parents in order to be able to parent these children and get them to be good citizens.
Now, given the challenges that come with raising teenagers in the 21st century, the .com era as it is called, how can parents protect their teenagers against excessive exposure that comes with the .com era without being overly controlling?
I think all this begins with the relationship a parent develops with their child. It's never too late. However, it would be very nice for us as parents to develop this relationship as early as children start to understand us. If your child is your friend, you will communicate and you will guide him or guide her. And therefore, if a person is your friend, it is very easy to parent him without friction, without being an overly controlling parent of the 21st century. We are regarded as P.O. Box or ancient, but we just want to tend to be modern. So we make them our friends and then we talk to them, we learn a bit of their slangs so that we can come in, so that they are our friends, really.
That's a very hard paper, isn't it?
It isn't very difficult. It can be done because this is a job we learn on the job. But we can still learn it and parent these people and be good citizens.
I have a question. Are teenagers naturally wired to be rebellious at that stage of their lives, or are parents doing something to actually provoke the rebellion in the kids?
I think there's a lot of ignorance on the parents. I mean, we train parents, and I've seen parents come in all kinds of shapes. You find parents who come and are treating a teenager the way you treat an 8-year-old.
Oh dear.
And obviously, you are going to have a problem. A lot of them don't know that there's need for adjustment as you parent the different age groups, because they have different needs, they know different things, there are different points of their development, and all that information a parent needs to know in order to parent their child well. Now, so ignorance, I found, is one of the biggest things. You know, people think, oh, but we were raised like this, but our parents did this. Yes, your parents did that then, but things have changed and things are different now. The things that are influencing this child now are varied and are many and are a lot, and you need to know that. That's one thing. The other thing is that a lot of the parents are absent. Today the father is out of home, the mother is also out of home, so the kids are actually being parented by the media. And what do you expect? I mean, they see in the media, and in the media there's no work in the media. You just laze around, you just play, you know, computer games, and that's what they see, and that's what they do. So it takes a keen parent who is serious about their parenting responsibility to actually guide this child, so that even if this is the influence that is out there, they can actually shape the child successfully to guide them as responsible people.
Okay, let's look a little bit at the issue of control, because I mean, as a teenager, there were times that I felt my parents were overly controlling, and with reason. But I mean, and in my opinion, one of the biggest issues facing today's teenagers is actually the fact that most parents try so hard to raise the kids the best way they can, which almost always translates into being overly protective. But how does that equip them to handle life as an adult? And shouldn't they be allowed to make some mistakes and learn along the way?
You see, one thing parents need to know is that as a teenager, first of all, they need to understand that a teenager is somebody who is in transition. They are transitioning from being children to being adults. So because they're in transition, sometimes they behave like adults, sometimes they behave like children. So you need to bear that in mind. So armed with that knowledge, you need to know how much freedom and flexibility to give to them, because you have to give them that. Because one of the things about parents is that you want to equip this individual to be able to thrive in this wicked, in this terrible, in this unfair world in which we live in. Now, in order for them to do that, you need to give them some space to have the values you've taught them to kick in, you know, so that they can practice. You know, there's a saying that when an eagle wants to teach the other to fly, the little one fly, it just goes on the cliff and drops it. Yeah. And then, you know, the little one, you know, struggles when he's still under the watchful arm of the mother. In the same way, parents need to give some leeway, some freedom, a bit of flexibility, because children also, teenagers rather, want to be autonomous. They want to be their own person in their own right, as a young man or as a young lady. He doesn't want to be daddy's boy or mommy's boy or mommy's girl. He wants to be in their own right. So in order to develop that, they need a bit of space to have autonomy, to take some decisions. Now, if a parent doesn't give that, that's what brings a lot of rebellion. Because the kid will see the only way to get out of this prison is to rebel and get out of it. Yeah.
But some parents will also argue that giving them freedom, I mean, you give someone an inch and they take a mile.
Look,
no, so it's a bit
look,
scary.
As a parent, what my sister said is very important, that you need to be relating with the child so that you know. Because in that communication, you can know where this kid is. You can know how responsible they are, you can know how irresponsible they are, you can know what they've learned and what they haven't learned. And usually you give the measure of freedom with the responsibility. You say, okay, oh, you can now do this, fine, now you can go by taxi by yourself. Yeah, because you can see some responsibility there. And obviously, if you see that they have not yet learned that, you can't give, yeah.
Okay. We actually put this very same question to our viewers. We posted the question on Facebook, and these are some of the comments that our viewers had on this issue. Nansambu Costa says they should be guided to avoid mistakes and understood, corrected and cancelled in case they make them. According to Emunyu Silas, they should be given their space, exactly what you're saying, they should be given their space to try out certain things. If they don't do them now, they will start doing them later when they're old, which is not a good thing. Then we have Latima Chivumbi, who thinks otherwise. He says, the Bible tells us to show the child the right way so that when they grow old, they will never leave it. So it's better to prepare them on the right path. And then our final comment comes in from Kevin Mugisha, who says, mistakes are human, but it also depends on the gravity of the mistakes. But ultimately, they should be corrected and allowed to learn from their mistakes. So we did get a bit of mixed responses to this. We did have people who strongly felt do not give them any space at all. That's very dangerous. So Esther, what are some of the common expectations teenagers have of their parents?
Of course, we have different parents, so all of us think of our parents differently. Me, I know my mom, she's like my best friend. I can tell her anything.
That's nice.
So when it comes to some, oh yeah, I know there are times when she gets hard and I feel like, this woman. But then there are times when you're like, oh yeah, you guys have a cool mom and all those things. But then most people, according to my friends' talk at school, my mom is so harsh, my mom is this. Then you'll be like, okay, imagine you went, your mom allowed you to go out and then you came back later than the time they gave her to do. She would kill me, she would do this and this. So people have different
expectations
from them,
based on their view of their parents.
Yeah.
Okay, let's turn a little bit to the issue of parental monitoring, and I'd like you, Mrs. Nkurunungi, to address this. There's so many competing demands on parents' time.
Yes.
So how can they strike a balance between attending to everything else that needs to be attended to and still be very aware of what's going on in their teenagers' lives?
Okay, well, as I appreciate that we have limited time and we have so much to do, children don't exactly need a whole day. Quality time does not need to be a whole day. You can do whatever you do and set aside some minutes. They can be 5, they can be 10 of quality time with the children. Because I appreciate we have to work, we have to bring bread on the table, we have to pay school fees, we have to do all these things. But because this is our primary responsibility, having brought these people in the world, it is also important that we put this time aside, quality time. With each child, because they are different, they will need to be parented differently, understood differently.
But
5 minutes.
But the kids are never available. They're either out at the shopping malls, or they're at a friend watching movies, or they're shopping, or they're on the internet. The kids are just not available.
It's because we are not also there. When we are at work, they are at the shopping mall. When we are back, we come back with our laptops. We are doing our work. We are on our phones, we are on our iPads, we are on Facebook. So they decide to also go out. But we can create this time. I'm telling you, it is not all lost. We can find this little time. For anything that is important to you, you'll create the time.
We actually have to find the time for what's
Yes.
important.
Yeah.
Esther, what are some of the things that you think teenagers wish their parents knew?
The evils they do.
Are
when
you
they're
sure?
not around.
That teenagers would actually wish that their parents knew?
Yeah.
The evil
No,
that
of
the
course
teenagers
they
do, or the
wish.
evil that the parents do?
No, the evil that we do.
Why would they want their parents? I wouldn't want my parents to know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I wouldn't want, but at some point, if your parent got to know what you do, I think she would change and then do something about it. Because some people do things because they don't want to do it, but someone has forced them into doing so like there are people who jump at night, like from home, and it's because their parents are too tight. Every small
What do you
thing
mean
they
by
ask,
jump?
like,
sorry, I belong to a different generation. What do you mean by jump?
Mommy goes to sleep, you get out of the door and go
Oh,
happy.
They go out.
okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, so if you're this person, every small thing, Mommy, can I go here? No. Mommy, you'll be like, okay, you sleep. And when you sleep, she goes out. So if your mom gets to know that, then she would at least loosen up and yeah.
What are some of the things that parents need to know?
I think parents need to, first of all, be informed about teenagers, to understand who they are, because that will help a lot. Then the other thing that they need to know is that children are the most valuable, I don't want to call them, like asset, but are the most valuable people that they are responsible for. I mean, we are talking of jobs, we are talking of putting food on the table and all that. But you see, the child you have, the value of parenting that child and guiding that child in the right way cannot be quantified in monetary terms. Yes.
True.
And the other thing that parents need to know is that the children need them physically and emotionally. Many parents think, oh, I've paid school fees. Oh, I've got them a place to stay. I've got clothes. What more do they want? Don't
I
they
give
see?
them money to
yes,
hang
I
when
give
they
them
want to
money.
hang out.
Exactly. That is nothing. And I wish parents could know that that is nothing to children. You spending time with them is much, much more valuable to them than all this. I heard of a father who wanted to give a child, an S6 child, like our daughter here, almost, her age, wanted to buy her a car, but he would never visit her on the visitation days and things like that. And I'm told that this girl told her friends that, I wish my father could just know that what I need is him to just come
and visit.
Yes, rather than this car. Yeah. So I wish parents knew that your child needs you, needs to relate with you, needs to be friends with you. You had this, our daughter here, saying that I wish the parents knew what we do. You see, those terrible things that they do. Because, you see, when a child does that, they are trying to pass a message to the parent. Yes. Yeah. Because young people need attention. As you heard it, they need attention. And if you don't give that kid attention, they're going to get it from elsewhere. And in fact, young people, teenagers especially, if they behave well and you don't acknowledge it, but when they do something wrong, you reprimand them. They'll rather do something wrong.
Because then they get your attention.
Yes, they get your attention. That's the cycle of a child. Yeah, that's the cycle of a child. Yeah, they rather do something wrong. They can even get pregnant to pass a message to you, not because they really want sex or whatever, but they are passing a message to you, the parent. I've had a boy who was brought to me for counseling many years ago, and that father is his father is a big man, and he was now going to run out of school, and said, I'm going to run out of school, and then I'm going to see what he's going to say. And he's a big man. You imagine, I had that in the classroom. Yeah, so.
But what role do teachers then play? What roles do schools play? Because some of our kids are spending more time in school. Most of the kids are actually spending more time in school than at home. How much are they actually getting from school? By way of instilling values and mentoring them, how much of that is happening?
Okay, the schools try. But just like you can know, you only have 3 children and you don't even have time. So what about this teacher who has 1,000 students from different places, different behaviors? They try, but I'm saying they cannot do it all. There are also parents who have not parented their children well. So if you expect them to parent our own children, we are really asking for too much. It's asking for too much.
In fact, for me, parents need to know that it's their primary responsibility to parent their children. Not schools, not churches, not mosques, not organizations, it is them. And parents, we need to go back home. We need to go back home. In fact, parents need to make some strategic decision. Maybe one of you needs to go back home. I mean, it is as serious as that. Otherwise,
when you say go back home, you mean one of us has to be the stay-home parent?
Stay home. Some of us, in fact, people say, oh, but you know, our parents looked after us, and but look, we've come out and so on. Our mothers were there. Our mothers were there. Okay. So, I mean, this is so serious that we may lose the next generation. This is not a game. It's not a game, and it's not a small thing. We may lose the next generation. Because if these people are not guided in the right ways, in being responsible citizens, we are sitting on a time bomb.
And on that note, as we wind up, Mr. Langa, specifically to you, since, I mean, we agree it's an overwhelming job to be a parent, and many people are actually learning on the job.
Yes.
Do we simply have to follow instincts, or are there places that we can actually go to get help on how to deal with the challenges that come with parenting teenagers?
It doesn't come by instinct. You see, there is a measure of a little bit of instinct, but there's need for skills to do it right.
So where do we get these skills from?
Now, okay. We happen to have an organization where we teach our parents. Actually, it even so happens that our daughter's mother here, we trained her. We run a parenting course, which is 13 lessons of 2 hours each, where we take parents through training, and we train them once a week. So you go to work, then in the evening from 5:30 to 7:30, we take you through this training. It has helped many, many parents. I mean, homes have been changed, marriages have been changed, because one of the things people need to know is that who you are as a parent is more important than what skills we give you, you know, on how to talk to the children and all that. If the raw material is fake, even if we give you good skills, it's not going to help. Yeah, because the children respond to who you are as opposed to the skills you're using. So we spend a good chunk of the lessons dealing with the people. Because if you have your own brokenness, it's going to affect your parenting. You know, your anger, which you came with from your childhood, you're going to spill it on your child. And it's going to make your parenting counterproductive. So we need to help you deal with some of those things so that you can be a good parent. So that really helps, and I recommend that parents
Thank you very much, and I do hope that more parents will actually come to the institution, to Family Life Network, to actually get these skills, because to be honest, they need help in dealing with their teenagers. Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight. Thank you very much, Esther, for coming, and thank you, Mrs. Kurunenji.
They should come for counseling as well at Care Counseling Center, those who have issues.
Yes. Thank you very much. Now we will take another short break and return with NTV Weekend Sport.
Yo, it's time to go dancing in Aringo, because if you're on Airtel or Worried, you stand a chance to win up to 5 million shillings every day. Yes, 5 million shillings, ayo diruyo. All you have to do is SMS the word WIN to 188, answer the simple questions that follow, and then you will enter a draw to come to NTV and get a chance to simply pick a box and win loads of cash. It's that simple. The more questions that you answer, the higher your chances of winning. Don't forget, SMS the word WIN to 188 and enjoy the deal of the century.
Only with Airtel. The biggest deal of the season is for 169,000 shillings. Get yourself a full DSTV kit and enjoy exclusive coverage for the best football action, non-stop movie action, cartoons and much more. Call 0312-245-216 to get yourself a full DSTV kit. DSTV. Everything else can wait.
NTV Sport is brought to you by
a name that is made of more.
Welcome back. In NTV Sport, the national swimming trial held in Kampala this morning had Tom Barense beating the qualifying mark for the Africa Swimming Championships to be held in Uganda early next year. The youngsters, though, registered complaints over elite athletes' failure to honor the event, as Alfred Odong reports.
As days to the African Swimming Championships in Kampala in April draw close, the sports national governing body is making more emphasis on qualifying as many competitors. Today's national trials had Tom Barense making the cut in the juniors 50-meter breaststroke in a time of 26.26 seconds. Some youngsters, however, blame their failure to impress on the absence of elite figures in the country in today's races, an excuse officials say won't hinder others from taking part in the continental event.
Some of the best swimmers didn't come, so we can't go all out since we don't have that much competition.
There's an opportunity for them to be able to qualify if at all they don't qualify from this, because we are setting up other events, national trials. This is not the only one. There's another one we'll be selecting also from the Excel Swimming Gala, which will be in October next month. So also that will be using that to select a few other athletes that maybe might have not qualified from this event.
Uganda will host her first ever continental swimming competition in April in Kampala. Excelling swimmers in different events today have been selected for supervision so as to help them improve on their times ahead of the Continental Championship. Alfred Odong, NTV Sport.
Uganda has thrashed South Sudan by 9-0 in the first leg of the FIFA Women's Under-20 Football World Cup qualifier played in Juba. Uganda took a 6-0 lead in a one-sided first half before returning to wrap up the game in the second for a 9-0 in and away fixture. The second leg is scheduled for 28th of September in Kampala. Uganda will likely advance to meet Egypt, while South Sudan need to convert at least 10 times to make the next round. Sharing Club today proved their title contenders' credentials in the Under-12 Baseball League when they defeated Luzira and Luwero rivals. However, baseball continues to grapple for leverage in the crowded industry dominated by traditional sport like football.
Uganda Baseball Federation continues grappling with popularizing the game, which is largely perceived as a Western sport. However, the central region is gradually embracing the discipline at a time when experts are urging government to cede land for the construction of baseball fields.
And what we need to do is just get the essentials, get these bases, get gear that's protective. And I think that we can work with people in the U.S. to try and get those types of things. But they've got to come and they've got to be used with integrity. And then we've got to see people get behind the game.
In the National Under-12 League, Sharing Club consolidated their grip on the second position of the league by beating Luzira and Luwero in the games played this afternoon in Kampala. Jonathan Mukobe inspired Sharing to a 4-3 victory over Luzira before taking Luwero to the cleaners with a 6-3 result. Luwero got a consolation after thrashing Luzira 6-1.
Yeah, I mean, gaining popularity for sure. This year, at least, we've moved an extra mile at schools. We are partnering up with the schools like in Gayaza, building the field in Gayaza. That's a big thing, and we are catching up. I mean, it will take long, but slowly by slowly, I know we are building the capacity, growing further.
Rookie talent will benefit from the national body's partnership with the Major League Baseball Academy in South Africa, where their skills will be polished. Alfred Odong, NTV Weekend Sport.
And that's all we had time for in NTV Sport tonight.
A name that is made of more.
Welcome back. Now in tonight's NTV Weekend Poll, we asked you whether Uganda should accept genetically modified foods. Thank you so much for all your comments tonight. We'll now sample some more of them. Alexander Ocheng says, if that is the only option to increase agriculture production, then I support it. Drevids Pico says, I think it's important for people to be taught what GMOs are, how they're developed, what the health hazards are, or the advantages. They will bring about proper judgment about whether to accept or abolish them. I understand even some policymakers who shout loud against them don't know what they are fighting. Hilda Nawire Sherry says, a big no. Accepting GMOs will be disastrous to the country, especially to the agriculture sector, given the fact that the GM seeds have patents, which means no farmer can harvest and keep these seeds. We shall keep buying the seeds from the US forever. Once again, thank you very much for all your comments tonight. And that brings us to the end of NTV Weekend Edition tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Rukshana Namwimba. Good night.
NTV, turning on your world.
This thing is bigger. This thing is bigger. This thing is bigger. This thing is bigger.
Welcome back to Play Lotto. Do you know why I was dancing? Because I know today someone is going to be a lucky winner, and it could be you, but you cannot win if you're not playing. So make sure you get onto MTN Mobile Money, dial *277# like I've been telling you every day, and play so you can be able to be a winner. You never know. You can also get onto Payway, get your ticket, purchase it, hold on to it, and wait and see. We could read your lucky numbers. Isaac.
Well, thank you very much, Peace. While she loves to dance,
I actually was a dancer, and a very good one. I can sample this now, but not today. Again, like she was saying, you cannot win without playing. Waliwo akapya bakazanya batya. Kwate numbers ozoyagala mukaaga oziweereze ku SMS 277. Ezo numbers omukaaga bw'omala oziweerezaayo olindako prompt nejja negamba nti osasula n'ogamba nsasula ne bajjako 1000 gwe n'obeera ki n'opositioning okubeera winner. In case okyebuuza nti kana akantu katambula katya njagala olunaku lwaleero okayigire ddala weetegereze kubanga ngenda kukutwala tu how to play.
Just make sure you have money on your MTN mobile money account. Dial *277#. Reply and send 1 to buy a ticket. Please wait for the mobile money prompt